Hey YouTube, JP Dillon. This is going to be part 3 of the early 60s Zenith repair. In our last video we saw that we did get a stable picture, although there's no RF activity from the tuner, so we need to investigate that today. Now if we look at the flow chart here, shed some light on this, you can see that our tuner uses a 6 GK5 RF amp and 6 EA8 oscillator. We don't have UHF, and then the IF tubes are all 6BZ6, is very common for Zeniths. Now the things that can cause no RF, the simple things, would be a defective RF amp or mixer oscillator, more so the mixer oscillator tube. Usually when the RF amp goes bad, you get no snow, it's just a raster. Whereas if the mixer oscillator goes bad, it doesn't tune to the right frequency and you just get snow. However, also, if the first IF tube becomes defective in such a manner that it causes the AGC to cut off the RF, you can also have the same symptom. Now, if it's not the tubes, very likely it's a supply voltage or a defect inside the tuner. I'm hoping not, but we may have to pull the tuner in the event that the tubes are still good. So the real thing here is to pull them, test them, and if the tubes are bad, replace them. But if the tubes aren't bad, then we got to pull the tuner and check and see what's going on with it. It's probably getting voltages because, again, we're getting snow. If the tuner were dead, we'd get nothing but a raster. So let's take a look here and see where our tubes are at in comparison to the chart. So here's your VHF tuner. This is your 6GK5, and this is the 6EA8. It's a 9-pin versus a 7-pin. And then if we come down here, we've got our 6BZ6s, and usually the one closest to the coax is the first one, which they do list in the tube chart. Now, just as a precaution, I am going to pull all the critical ones, like, video, AGC, vertical, etc., and just make sure that while I'm grubbing around in my tubes that I don't have to get anything extra. As far as that copper adjusting sleeve, it doesn't look like this has one of those. I see glass going all the way up to the bell. Hard to tell from that. We can pull this back and double check, but I don't think this one has the linearity sleeve. It says it should, but I don't see it. So anyway, let's pull the tubes out and check them, and then we can see, hopefully, if that's it. Okay, so here they are all lined up in order from mixer oscillator, RF amp, first, second, and third IF tube. So the first one's a 6EA8. And we're just going to look at here, and there it is. So 6 volts, plate 73, socket 6, and it's got one section. We'll test for that. So let's go ahead and pop this in. Socket 6. You can see all the pins are bent like somebody was messing with it. We'll see if it does anything. Lights up at least. Doesn't register a short. It's supposed to be pin 73. Okay, so it's pretty tired. And the next section is pin 56. It does have it show a short, and that section is pretty much dead. So that is a culprit. That might be the cause for it, but I can't rule that that's it yet. So the next thing is our 6GK5. And there we go, it's a specialized one. Doesn't work in any of the standard sockets, so it's 6 volt, plate at 50, socket 30, CEABF. C, E, A, B, and F. And then our two subsequent ones 13 and 14 should be B and A. And this is just a single test only. So let's go ahead and stick that in there. It's lighting up at least. No short. It's warming up. But it too tests pretty poorly. Now this would still be usable. In fringe areas it wouldn't work very well, but... there's our grid leakage. Alright, so this is a fail. And now it does register short after it warmed up. Okay, so we've got two bad tubes now. Let's see about our IF section, 6BZ6. There we go. So it's plate 71, socket 1. That's easy. Still warming up. These things are tired. Usually these things are warmed up after about 15 seconds. It's coming around. It's just really tired. How tired is it? Well, let's go from 6 to 5 volts. Yeah, if we go from 6 to 5 volts, it's pretty much dropping into nothing. Back up to 6 volts again. Go up to 7 volts. 7 volts wakes it up a little bit. So these tubes are just really tired. No short in this one though. Let's go to our second IF. I'm thinking I'm going to be replacing a bunch of tubes. Both tuner tubes are defective. That might cause what we're doing, but even then it kind of makes me wonder if it's... That one's not responsive at all. That second IF, look at that thing just barely twitch. Just no emission on that one. That one's dead. Let's go with the third IF. These are all original labeled Zenith tubes, so this thing must have a bazillion hours on it. That explained why the CRT didn't test all that great. Amazingly, it still has a bright picture though, and it doesn't like ghost over a cloud or go negative or anything like that, so that's shocking. This is kind of sort of okay. Kind of sort of. Alright, so we've got one. The third IF is still kind of usable. Second one's utterly dead. First one doesn't test great. Both tuner tubes are defective. So that's problem number one, is getting those. I have to grub around and find those because I know I don't have them just here hanging in the common tube stock. Let's test some of the other ones and see what else I need to do. So while we're looking at this, we should probably check our AGC and sync and our video amp and vertical output. Now, if the AGC is defective, that could mess with things, but I don't think it would just make it snow. If the video amp were messed up, we'd get a weak picture, but we don't seem to get a weak picture. I do want to check the vertical output oscillator tube just because it's a little bit shrunken. That could have just been me messing with things, but let's double check. If I'm going to go grubbing for tubes, I might as well just do everything. And then there's the 6GH8 oscillator, and those tubes are so high failure rate. I definitely want to check those two to make sure those aren't bad. We've already checked our damper, that's alright. And the high voltage rectifier is working, so let's pull a couple more and check them while we're at it. And I just noticed something pulling these out, is that they label it as a 6GH8, but it's actually a 6KD8 that's in the socket. And given the fact that that's still the old yellow label, that could be original. And then I pulled our video amp and our AGC and our vertical. So let's look up a 6KD8. Feel free to fast forward through what I'm doing if you're bored out of your mind. Alright, so that's what do they say? Okay, 6KD8, socket 6, 52 and 88. So let's go ahead and plug this in. I gotta get more of these socket savers. Obviously this one's working or I wouldn't have horizontal sweep. Let's make sure I got the right thing here. KD8 68.6. There we go. It's tired, but it's still working. Should probably replace that too. 52, section 2. Oh yeah, it's tired. This amazingly still works. Alright, so we're going to need one of those too. Let's look at our, what is this? HS8 or KF8. How weird. Yeah, it's not even listed there, so let's look up HS8. I know that's more common. There we go. Fancy schmancy. Socket 29, CDFABC. CDFABC. And then second section here is E space CAA. And it's warming up in there. And this is supposed to be maxed out. That still tests okay. No short though. Okay, let's look at the second section. And we're going to omit the F on this section. Otherwise it's the same, and then we're going to add it here. Okay, and then same. So that's fine. I think that was our video amp. And next let's look at our AGC thing. 6GN8. Let's go back a page. M. There we go. So it's going to be socket 8, 36 and 95. There's socket 8. Feeling kind of croupy today. Ugh. Air quality sucks. And that's got a short. And also got lots of grid leakage. And doesn't register. Alright, so that's section 1. Just out of curiosity. Let's see what section 2 looks like. It's supposed to be 95. Section 2 does not register. Up, there we go. Alright, so this is defective too. And let's look at our vertical output 6FM7. Another fancy. Alright, so that's going to be 59 is the plate. Or excuse me, 94 and 62. Socket 23, a 2 blanks on the second section, C, E, F, B, C, E, F, and B, and C, A, and what did it say this was? Socket 21. No, socket 23. Really? Oh, I'm looking at 22 as the new Vista there. 23 is the one next to it with a saber in it. Okay, let's light this baby off. Not warming up yet. Let's double check what I've done here. Ah. It's supposed to be BA, not CA. That's pretty tired. That could be why we have a loss of vertical height and fold over at the bottom. And then the second one is, let's see. Let's reset these. A space E space F. And let's see. B at the end, and then DA and section 1. And the plate's going to be 62 this time. A little bit better, but not by much. It's coming around. Yeah, so we got one section that's mostly dead and the other section that's not. Zeniths are kind of hard on vertical outputs, so that doesn't really surprise me. So I'll have to get that too. My goal is to make this have a nice watchable picture. So I haven't even tested the sound yet. Shit, why not do that too? Alright, so the last two in the chain are the 6AQ5 audio output and the 6BN6. Yeah, 6BN6, which is your sound detector limiter buzz-o-matic amplifier. So let's do the 6BN6. It's just going to be socket 5 with a 75 plate. Mostly all original tubes. Doesn't surprise me that they're all just about dead. I'm hoping that switching these out will make it possible to turn the set on and use it. Wakey wakey. This thing ain't waking up. I like how it's the only one listed there. There we go. A little bit of a shake and now it's warming up. 6BN6. Why didn't I see that there? This is still usable enough. It's not falling off. And I don't really care about sound too much. I'll probably just play the sound through an amplifier. These Zeniths buzz like crazy. It drives me bonkers. It's all this encoded text and stuff, and the closed captioning and text on the screen makes them buzz like crazy. Whatever detector Zenith uses likes to buzz. Okay, so 6AQ5 is going to be our last one of the day here before we go making a list and grubbing around for tubes. Come on, there we go. 77 and socket 2. With that near dead horizontal oscillator, I was surprised that this thing even worked at all. But hey, I got what I got. Now I need to see if we can make it work right. Yeah, it's pretty much trash. It's supposed to be 77. Yep, I got it in the right spot. It's just near dead. So that would have probably made for lots of distorted sound. Okay, so the verdict is the damper's good, the horizontal out's good, but pretty much everything else in the chain, with the exception of the sound detector, which I'm still going to reuse, is in need of replacement. So I'm going to have to grub around for these, but I think I have most, if not all of them, stashed away somewhere. And once we do that and get all the new happy tubes in there, then we can go about seeing if that restores our RF. Considering one IF tube is kind of crummy, the second one's dead, the third one's kind of sort of okay, both tuner tubes are defective. That could piss things off a little bit, but you really don't know until you change them out. Although the tester says they're bad, sometimes even when the tester says they're bad, they kind of sort of work. Like the horizontal oscillator still worked even though it tested like crap. And the vertical still worked even though it tested like crap. So yeah, we're going to find replacements and then pop them in and see if that does it. But for now, that's what we know so far. Alright, so fast forward after New Year's. I got most of the tubes scrounged up for this thing. The 6KD8 that was in here for the horizontal oscillator has been switched back to a 6GH8, which is what the tube chart said. 6KD8 was dead. I got a new old stock 6FM7 vertical output and oscillator, which works great. The 6HS8 behind it, I found a used one, no shorts, but it's kind of weak. The 6AQ5 audio output is new. The 6BZ6s are all new old stock. The tuner tubes, the 6GK5 and the 6EA8 have both been replaced with new tubes. Since the other ones were almost completely dead or near dead, I'm going to see if the tuner comes back alive. And if it does, great, and if not, then we got to pull the tuner out, because that was really the only thing that wasn't running when we last powered up the set. So let's hook it up to something and see what happens. Alright, so let's see if with a new set of good tubes, the tuner and the IF, that this thing will fire up. We'll find out. Not sure what it's going to do at this point. It's going to squeal. So the horizontal is not running right. So let's put the 6KD8 back in. Okay, now I got the 6KD8 back in. Maybe the tube chart was wrong, or there was a modification made at some point. Anyway, we'll find out in a moment. See if it freaks out now. Got raster and we got snow. Oh.
I'm pretty good at mathematics. Do they still have?
Okay, so we got a dirty tuner.
That's cool. Do you know what it showed?
It's trying to work.
Oh, sure. Huh. No wonder they have to raise the taxes, squandering all that money for Falderall. Well, it's time the taxpayer brought it back. I am going to write a letter to the newspaper.
Alright, so we gotta clean the tuner out a little bit. So looking into here, it doesn't look like there's any reasonable way to get contact cleaner inside. I can try popping off this cover, assuming it's not held on by a screw anywhere. It doesn't appear to be. And we'll get some contact cleaner in there and work it a bit. Interesting how this was wrong. So it's supposed to be a 6GH8 there for your horizontal oscillator, but that obviously doesn't work. It had a 6KD8 in there, which appears to be the original thing, so maybe there was a modification change or something. Looking on this schematic diagram that was provided to me, that also is true. It's a 6GH8, so interesting. The 6KD8 works though, 6GH8 does not, doesn't spin fast enough. Alright, so I'm going to see if I can get this cover off of the tuner and get some cleaner in there and work it a bit. Because it's obviously capable of working, we just need to kind of tweak it a little bit and get the tuner proper. So we'll do that and then give it one more shot. So here it is with the cover off. As anticipated, we can get into the bottom here. Contacts look a little goopy, so I think a good spray and wash should clean them up. And I'm just going to use some contact cleaner and tuner lube on it. Work it a bunch of times and then we'll try it again. Alright, let's try it again now with the tuner all cleaned up. Let's see how it looks. Putting it on channel 4. That sounds good. Look at that.
Are not aware of all of the benefits available to them, which may include vision, dental, prescriptions, and more.
Wow, what a difference.
No copays or no deductibles. Some even have $0 monthly premiums. These benefits may be available to you right now. Call now to find out what you are eligible for. The CureAdvantage.com.
That's my digital box there. Let's turn down the...
Call now to get the additional benefits you deserve. Plans include coverage for dental.
It's got plenty of brightness.
Plus some no copays or no deductibles. Call.
It's got the famous Buzz-O-Matic detector circuit. See if I can find a different station that's not so choppy.
Steve.
He's gone.
Oh, it's just they told me he was here.
He was
I
here.
definitely need to pull the safety glass because you can see the haze
He's in Paradise
of
Plot.
dirt and stuff behind here that's clouding the picture. And the yoke needs to be tilted too. You can tell it's really
I
crooked.
said he was in Paradise
Every time I
Plot.
see this guy, it reminds me of Willy Wonka. And we got horrible bends and tears. So definitely some AGC tweakings necessary. You can see that it's overloading.
I was quite dead.
But it's working. Let's see if I can get the screwdriver on the AGC adjustment. Wherever that may be. Where is the AGC adjustment on this? I can't seem to find it. We got our buzz, linearity, width. Maybe this is it here? I don't see what this is for. Yep, there's our AGC.
The mind boggles. What would it be like, I wonder, if I'd lived a
Overloaded, not so overloaded.
This is really living. Don't you mean dying? Sharp.
You know me?
I was in finance too, remember? We used to meet quite a lot in the city.
Got a lot of bends and tears.
Well, Mr. Steve, how do you like our paradise? Are our angels jolly enough for you?
Unimprovable.
Apple.
Oh, thank you very
So as you can see, there's still a lot going on that needs adjustment.
much. I don't want to spoil things.
Let's see if we can
How did I get here?
tweak the size and stuff a little bit at least.
I said I
Let's
had
see,
one
we've got
genuine talent.
linearity.
Of being able to suspend animation. You were likely bumped in a street accident, just enough to render you unconscious, but the world thinks you were
Getting
killed.
better.
After
Let's
all,
get the
was
size
no
up a
pulse,
little.
breathing had ceased, your body temperature was below that necessary to sustain life. An illusion I created. To all intents and purposes, you were dead. And buried.
Buried?
Look above you, Mr. Steve.
That's getting better.
Catacombs run directly beneath Paradise Plot Happy Meadows.
And the door?
Connects to the coffin.
Very cool.
It's just as easy to unscrew the side of the coffin.
We got some crackling in the sound, but that could very well be because of the funky detector tube that's in there.
Thinks you are dead.
Not bad. Got a little bit of loss of sync there. That could be the weak 6KD8. Dials right back in though.
Miss Jane?
Cool.
Please
Maybe that'll get rid of our bends. I'm liking this. This is good. But I think the dirty safety glass is going to bother me, so that's going to have to come apart. We'll make that as part of a next episode or something. And I definitely want to find a better, stronger 6KD8. But yeah, it's alive. Tuner's cleaned up, new set of tuner tubes, IF tubes. It's looking pretty good. That CRT is definitely bright. So we'll see about the next time taking this apart, pulling the CRT out, cleaning behind the safety glass, and then it should look even better. So thanks for watching the episode. More stuff to come soon.